From Tiberius Arms. Here, I want to talk about what the proper thing to do to get going the right way, kind of out of the box. What you should look for to make sure that your gun is set up for your conditions, your climate, your air system. It's pretty straightforward. Your settings at the factory should be okay, but it's pretty nice to take a look at them and get familiar with them right out of the box. What we're going to first do is, it's supplied without air. You're going to remove the rear strip pin. Push it in with your fingers or a soft device. Remove by pulling. Make sure the gun is not cocked. You're going to be rocking the assembly upward and exposing the internal mechanism of the sear and what we call the upper manifold assembly. You're going to be removing this upper manifold assembly first to inspect it. It's easily done with a fairly small tool, such as an Allen wrench that will fit into this hole. With a light push, you'll just disengage a pin and slightly pull on the assembly, and it comes out like that. So let me show you what you're first looking for. We have another assembly over here. We have two ports. The one that you can access on the outside of the marker is the velocity port. The one that you have to remove the upper manifold to be able to access is the Recog port. You can access the adjustment for the Recog port by this silver stainless steel screw that's in the back here. So what we're looking for to get some good satisfaction in your very first shots is that the velocity port screw is somewhere in the neighborhood of halfway closed or halfway open. You want to be sure that the recocking port, you can see a half moon shape, so it should be at least halfway closed or a little farther, even 3/4 of the way closed. So you'll easily adjust them with a 5/32 Allen wrench on both of the adjustments. And to give you an example, it is intentionally stiff so that it is vibration resistant, and I'm adjusting the Recog port. And this would be about the proper position if you're able to see daylight through that. So when you're positive that you have them in this condition, reinstall simply by placing above the general area over the valve tube, depressing with your finger lightly on the stainless steel pin, and pushing in until you hear a click. So those are the best ways to actually make sure that you're in a good reference point for starting in what we'll call spring through summer conditions. In colder weather, you want to do things like open up the Recog port just a little bit more. So let me talk about the settings and what you might experience and where you're going to be needing to make some of those adjustments. The very first thing that you want to do is air up the unit with, let's say that you're using the 13 cubic inch tank. Air up the unit and test a few paintballs in the velocity. This is the velocity port right here. Again, a 5/32 Allen wrench. If the velocity is lower than your liking or your field regulations or your performance desires, then you're going to open up the port by turning counterclockwise. Do this at about 1/4 turn increments. If it's too high, conversely, 1/4 turn increments clockwise. Now, if you reach the desired velocity and you hear your gun make kind of a slow sputter, or it doesn't seem to actually want to recock and you actually fire the gun and you have to actually recock the unit by pulling the charging handle back, and then it fires but does not recock and you're not able to fire again, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to open up the gun again, and I'll point to it just so you know. You're going to want to remove the manifold by pushing the pin out and adjust this recock screw outward so that you're exposing a larger hole. And to clarify, that's going to be this screw in the rear, and you're going to be opening this up or turning it counterclockwise, think of it that way, and backing it out slightly. Again, I would do this in no greater than 1/4 turn increments. If it starts to help the performance just in 1/4 turn, leave it alone. If it doesn't, open it up a little more, but you should never really see anything more than a hole that is halfway exposed. If you're seeing that it needs to be completely exposed and round, it's likely that you have a fairly low pressure tank, and it will just have to perform with that much need for more flow. That concludes, I think, the specifications for a good startup procedure that I would suggest. Thanks again. Be safe.